Welcome back to Checkpoint. Let's continue informing you to that special report where tonight alarming questions are mounting over the integrity of Kenya's identity system. Just what happens when the three most important documents that determine citizenship, the passport, the national ID card, and a birth certificate, become commodities for sale. A months-long undercover investigation by KTN has uncovered how foreign nationals from countries such as Somalia, Ethiopia, and Uganda are obtaining genuine Kenyan identity documents through networks of brokers and rogue insiders, exposing vulnerabilities at the heart of the country's registration system. Who is enabling it? Who is benefiting from it? And what could it mean for national security, public trust, and the integrity of the 2027 general election? Here's KTN's Francis Ontomwa with a special report, Auctioning Our Identity.
Ile vetting ambayo imesumbua wananchi wa Northern Kenya kwa miaka 60. Leo nimesema hiyo maneno ya vetting iondolewe, ndio vijana wote wa Kenya wapate vitambulisho vile wa Kenya wengine wanapata vitambulisho bila ya matatizo.
Truck drivers from Mogadishu, 178 of them were issued with Kenyan identity cards.
These things ziko na serious security implications. Sio kitu ya kufanya kiolala namna hii. Itafika mahali escort commander wa president mwenyewe atakuwa mgeni hata kwa mgeni.
We can't account for the people we have issued IDs in the past few years, and you can take that to the bank. It honestly scares me.
What we are doing with this, in the name of wanting to win a second term of a presidential election, is exposing ourselves to danger, which we don't know when we will ever resolve ourselves out of.
Kenya, a nation of nearly 60 million people. Like every nation, its citizenship rests on a simple but powerful foundation: trust. A trust anchored in three critical documents: a birth certificate, a national ID card, and a passport. Together, these three define belonging and decide who is Kenyan and who is not. But what happens when those very documents, the first line of identity and protection, are no longer secure? For weeks, KTN Investigations Unit infiltrated networks operating around Kenya's registration and immigration systems. We spoke to insiders and examined official documents just to understand the extent of the issue, and the revelations paint a disturbing picture of a thriving underground market auctioning Kenya's sovereignty. The warning bells have been sounding loud now for months. In February this year, Algoni Hamdan Dagalo Musa, a senior commander in Sudan's Rapid Support Forces RSF, made headlines in Kenya for all the wrong reasons. A man facing US sanctions over alleged involvement in atrocities linked to Sudan's devastating civil war was reportedly traveling internationally using a Kenyan passport number AK1586127. The revelation shocked the nation. Also appearing in the leaked records and linked to a Kenyan passport was controversial Zimbabwean businessman Wicknell Chivayo, a figure at the center of a major graft investigations in Zimbabwe. So how did foreigners with questionable profiles obtain Kenyan identity documents? And if they could, how many others may have quietly slipped through the system undetected?
Ni haki yako ukizaliwa mwananchi wa Kenya upatiwe kitambulisho, lakini serikali ya Ruto inapatia maharamia vitambulisho. Kama maharamia wajulikana huko nchi ya Sudan, wanapigana huko, wanaharibu nchi yao, wakija huko wanapatiwa passport, wanapatiwa kitambulisho, na watu wetu wenyewe halisi wananyimwa haki yao ya vitambulisho kuwa wananchi wa Kenya.
It's not just the brother of Hemeti who has a Kenyan passport. It's many commanders of the rebel group and sympathizers of that group. They have Kenyan passports because their operations are in Kenya. This is where the money laundering is done. This is where gold is brought, cleaned, and exported as Kenyan gold. If you check the statistics, for the last 3 years, Kenya has exported a lot of gold. Yet Kenya has no capacity to mine that kind of quantity of gold anywhere. What comes from Kakamega is very little. That gold that is said to have been exported by Kenya is actually from Sudan.
Months later, many of those questions remain unanswered. Even after committing this heinous act of national security scale, the men and women who should bear responsibility remain in office unmoved. Principal Secretary for Immigration Professor Belio Kipsang has since denied the RSF-related allegations. Immigration Director General Evelyn Cheluget has remained defiant, and so is former PS Professor Julius Bitok, under whose tenure insiders say the foundations of the alleged passport scandals were laid. But investigators now believe the passport controversy may just be a tip of the iceberg. KTN followed a trail that led deep into the country's identity management system. We poured through bundles of ID cards and passports, showing how foreigners casually walked into the country and acquired Kenya's sacred documents. Our trail starts with Said Abdurrahim Mohammed, a Somali national. His official Somali passport records him as born in Mogadishu on 26 June 1993. But on May 16, 2022, a different identity appears in Kenya's records. He's issued a Kenyan national ID number 411-63187. And with it, he takes up a new identity. His date of birth changes, now listed as 1st January 1999. His place of birth is no longer Mogadishu, but Mandera North, Kenya. From there, a Kenyan passport follows. Mohammed can now move anywhere across the globe as a Kenyan citizen. One man, two distinct identities. Then there is Hassan Mohammed Noor. Official Somali records indicate he was born on December 14, 1985 in Mogadishu, Somalia. To acquire a new nationality, he only needed to cross borders to Kenya, and in Wajir, he acquired an official Kenyan ID. Notice his new date of birth, captured as July 1, 1985, and his new birthplace, Tarbaj, Wajir, Kenya. Again, key details differ. Investigators point to what they believe are deliberate alterations designed to bypass scrutiny. Just how did the Kenyan system itself fail to detect or prevent men with an existing foreign identity from acquiring Kenyan citizenship documents under different details? It's the same story with Abdurrahman Ali Mahad, another Somali national. Details on his original Somali passport is a stark contrast to what is contained in his newfound Kenyan documents. Same case with Dwale Ahmed Ali, another Somali, and the list goes on and on. In law, nothing bars foreign nationals in Kenya from accessing Kenyan IDs and passports, but that can only happen legally within strict constitutional processes. Such include birth to a Kenyan parent, marriage to a Kenyan citizen, long-term lawful residence and naturalization, or other limited registration pathways recognized under Kenyan law. The details in the original documents must tally with what is provided to Kenyan authorities. It shouldn't entail forging dates and places of birth to cheat the system and allow non-citizens to fraudulently obtain Kenyan identity documents outside the law.
Mtu yote ameingia Kenya kwa njia halali, anafaa kuwa aliingia na visa, na ikiwa kisheria ata-apply apewe ya Kenya. Documents ni lazima zile details za kwao zifanane na zile zitaingia kwa documents zetu. Any discrepancy, hiyo ni fake zote.
At the bustling Kiamaiko Goat Market in Nairobi's Eastlands, we encounter scores of Ethiopian nationals working as casual laborers. Some tell us they have successfully obtained Kenyan national IDs, while many others say they are still trying to secure the documents. In one of the market's busy back streets, we meet an Ethiopian national who is willing to speak to us about his experience.
Ini wa Ethiopia hii wote na wako na ID. Wako na ID. Wewe unaambia tu. Na walipata aje? Sisi ni tu penye unakuja na tuita na mtu anasema wewe pizeni uchukue pesa ngapi? Kuna bado kwa system. Sasa unaniambia hata iko Ethiopia, iko nini? Ngo iko na ID kwa system. Traffic claim. Bora tu umetoa kitu. Ulisema ulipata huduma center. Nimereplace huko. Lakini kupata ulipata hapa. Upate nimekukata nindi huko Marsabit County. Ulipiga ngapi kwani? Ulipiga kaa ngapi wewe? Maka do 15,000. Buy ID.
Perhaps the most shocking discovery is what insiders describe as parents for hire. Under Kenya's first-time national ID registration process, applicants are typically required to provide copies of either their mother's or father's Kenyan ID as proof of citizenship, and this is where parents for hire comes in.
Parents for hire, for example, mimi naitwa Hassan. Mimi naweza wekea applicant anaitwa Yusuf Mohamed, mwishowe unaona sasa atachukua hiyo jina la mwisho la mzazi, so hiyo kuonyesha ni kama mimi ndio mzazi. So unajua among the Somali majina inafanana. It's hard to tell that this one is not the parent of this one because the person has their own names. The system has no way to recognize that this one is not the father of this one. It will, read the fingerprints and okay things. So right now there are people who have played parent to even over 100 children. It's that bad.
To understand how the network operates, we visited registration offices ourselves within Nairobi. Our source has described a system where money allegedly changes hands at nearly every stage of the process. This is Mathare Registration Center in Huruma. Officials are busy registering new applicants, many of them Ethiopian nationals.
Kwa jamaa wangu ni foreigner, but kwa nataka nisaidie venye anaweza pata ID. Ethiopia. Lakini ni boss yangu yani akon hana rafiki ndio nataka. And 40 sub. 40 yeah.
So what can you do?
Yeah.
Na jamaa tunafanyanga hiyo mambo na yeye. Hapa kwa ID. Wacha nimwage chama ya meeting fulani. Nimejachelewa.
Nimekuja na sijakuja naye lakini ako tu area.
Akiniambia it's possible. Nikwambia ndio tofauti.
So but tunaweza nipa feedback leo. Ndio nataka nimuongeleshe. Niona atatoka nini.
Citizenship is supposed to be earned, verified, and protected. But here in Kenya, many investigators say it has simply become transactional. Identity documents do much more than just prove who we are. They can also determine who can live in Kenya, who can access its services, and much more. But when all this is compromised, it becomes troublesome. The National Registration Bureau headquarters, I pause as someone seeking to reconcile discrepancies between my ID card and birth certificate. Within minutes, registration officials begin making offers.
Since you don't have the documents, for my understanding, because you stayed with both of you for a long time, that is not just a mere correction. The change of certificate. It's a change of certificate. So you do an affidavit, then you do a copy of that birth certificate, and attach a PDF copy. Alafu uende kwa ofisi ya kitambulisho ambayo iko karibu na
Itanikulaga ngapi?
hiyo risiti ya gavana itamu.
Ani tao.
Hata mtu anataka ikuje haraka, hiyo sasa mtaenda. Nimepata hapa form ikuje unipatie baby card ama form gomto kivyangu.
But to understand the genesis of the current happening, one needs to revisit two major policy decisions that may have altered the landscape. In January 2024, Kenya abolished traditional visa requirements, replacing them with the electronic travel authorization system known as ETA. Then in February 2025, a few months later, President William Ruto abolished long-standing vetting requirements previously applied to some identity card applicants. The government defended both decisions as necessary reforms intended to improve efficiency and end discrimination.
Ile ubaguzi ambayo imeendelea Kenya hii kwa miaka 60, ati mtoto wa Mandera, ati mtoto wa Wajia, ama Garissa ama Tana River, ati akienda kutafuta kitambulisho anaulizwa maswali kuzidi ile wamama wanaulizwa huko kwa maternity. Hiyo maneno tumesema itakoma.
But some security experts now argue critical safeguards were removed without equivalent protections being put in place.
Two documents are very critical about the integrity of our country. One is the national identity card. Two is our travel document, the Kenyan passport as a document. When it is handled in this manner, it becomes an issue of national insecurity. It's no longer national security, it's national insecurity. The government is irresponsibly exposing our territorial integrity to danger, all for no reason other than focus on 2027 elections. Because someone has made them believe that they can use these foreigners to bridge the gap between the citizen that is unhappy with them. That, in my view, is reckless in the sense that winning the elections of 2027 must not be a life and death issue. William Ruto must appreciate that even Donald Trump was a one-term president, went out, stayed away, came back, but America was safe.
Previously, multiple agencies scrutinized applications before IDs were approved. Now rogue players are capitalizing on the loopholes to make a kill while exposing the country to danger.
You must not sell out this country for your political gains. As a country, Kenya is more important than you as an individual. We must make sure that our borders are safe. Yes, we want to welcome people, we want to welcome other Africans, but that cannot just be done haphazardly. Like any Tom, Dick and Harry just walk in the country, do what they want and leave. You can't do that.
Kenya shares a long and often difficult border with Somalia, a country that continues to battle extremist violence. And history provides painful reminders of what can happen when identity systems are compromised. From the 1998 US Embassy bombing to the Dusit attack, terror investigations have repeatedly shown the role that fraudulent documentation can play in helping dangerous individuals evade detection.
As a Kenyan, it really hurts when I think about our own security because we have had enough issues with Al-Shabaab. As a country, do we even know who we have issued IDs to? I'm just worried and imagining if someone can provoke them while they are mixed amongst us. I don't know what will happen to our own children. It is the reason why, as a responsible Kenyan, I've decided to come out and speak about it. We can't account for the people we have issued IDs in the past few years, and you can take that to the bank. It honestly scares me.
Eastleigh, a bustling commercial hub in the heart of Nairobi, widely known as Little Mogadishu. This is where investigators say they have traced most of the Somali citizens who've moved to the capital city. Beneath the energy of these busy streets and thriving businesses, Eastleigh is a key point where some of those identity and documentation networks are operating and living.
Predominantly, Eastleigh is inhabited by the Kenyan Somali. Predominantly. You will meet perceived Somali Kenyans who cannot utter a word in English or in Kiswahili, but they will be having our national ID card and or our passport.
Unlike citizens of most countries who can enter Kenya through standard visa and immigration procedures, Somali nationals are subjected to a visa referral process requiring additional security vetting before travel authorization is granted. This is due to long-standing security concerns. Other countries in that category include Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, among others.
Wale watu ni wa kushindana na mimi? Iko wapi mtu ya kushindana na mimi kwa hiyo group? Iko wapi? Hao watu nitawanyorosha asubuhi na mapema. Hao watu ni watu wa breakfast, tutamalizia hapo kwa breakfast. Hawafiki lunch hour.
Tutawanyorosha asubuhi na mapema ndio muende ICU sasa. Wacha hiyo mnavia. Na kura tutajaza. Hii kura hii tutajaza. Usijali, kura itajaa.
Utajaza wapi? Unatoa wapi ya kujaza? Na saa hiyo sisi tuko wapi? Ukifanya hiyo. Hakuna.
Why we said it was not clear last time is because the law was not followed. We were being given numbers and we said this is where these numbers coming from. So that is why we are saying IBC as a responsibility. And this time round, because of the pain that the Kenyans have gone through, IBC had better know that if it plays around, it will set this country on fire.
With months to the 2027 general election, the political atmosphere is already heating up, with allegations of electoral manipulation beginning to surface. At the center of the concerns is a troubling possibility that individuals who may have unlawfully obtained Kenyan identity documents could find their way into the electoral system, registering and voting just like any legitimate citizen.
Saa hizi Ruto vile tunaongea amefungua mipaka, anapatia watu kura, anawapatia IDs wageni kutoka taifa la nje, kutoka kule Somalia, kutoka South Sudan, kutoka Uganda, kutoka Tanzania, ili atapate kura ya kuja kutawala Kenya. Huwezi kupatiwa idhini ya kutawala taifa la Kenya na wageni.
These allegations of election rigging have, however, been strongly disputed by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC), which has dismissed the claims and maintained that it remains committed to safeguarding the integrity of the process.
Take the example of South Africa as a country. Because of poor migration rules and porous borders, you now have an influx of foreigners who have come in, and they're taking up jobs for the locals. They are also engaging in criminal activities. There is a reason why South Africa has the highest number of crime in Africa because of some of these issues. And we don't want Kenya to head to that direction. But if we are not very careful, we could even be worse than South Africa, because Kenya is in the middle of many other countries around it, unlike South Africa, where people are just coming from the north, where they just need one border, the northern border to protect. Kenya is across. We have people who are coming in.
Just recently, in May 2026, High Court Judge Roslyn Ekirapa Aburili warned that foreigners were obtaining Kenyan ID cards through weaknesses in the country's registration system. In a ruling involving Bosnian national Zlatko Gejic, the judge found he had acquired a Kenyan ID despite not being a citizen. If a foreign national can acquire a Kenyan ID and passport, then the final step is a short one. As things stand, individuals like Said Abdrahim Mohammed, Hassan Mohammed Noor, Abdurrahman Ali Mahad, and potentially many others could find themselves on the voters' register ahead of the 2027 elections. KTN submitted detailed questions to both the State Department in charge of immigration, the Department of Immigration Services, and the National Registration Bureau regarding the findings contained in this investigation. Neither institution responded before publication. And so the question remains: how many fraudulent identities already exist within the system? Who is protecting the networks? How deep does the corruption run? And as Kenya heads into the 2027 general elections, can the country confidently guarantee the integrity of the voter register?
Any individual found culpable for facilitating citizenship that is not legal, that person should be arrested immediately and should have their day in court. We cannot allow any individual risking the security of this nation for either political expediency or for monetary gains. That is something we cannot allow.
What we are doing with this, in the name of wanting to win a second term of a presidential election, is exposing ourselves to danger, which we don't know when we will ever resolve ourselves out of. Even if this regime is removed, this is already a problem the next regime will start facing.
Francis Ontomwa, KTN.